Shadow Kings, this is part 2, and it's really important that you go back and watch part 1 first. Okay, so I'm going to give you a minute and do that. I'm going to get back on with my story. So anyway, this car is sitting backwards on the wrong side of the road, still running. The doors are closed, the windows are down. But like I said, there's stuff all along the path on that side. A little pink glove, CDs, toys, little things. And there's only a partial skid mark. Apparently what had happened is the car, he came around the curve too tight, and that happened to several people. And he had flipped, he didn't roll it. The car was not rolled, the car flipped and landed on all fours. But in the process, it had ejected the driver, who may have been asleep, Lord willing, over 30 feet, where he come up against a barbed wire fence. And that's what stopped him. Okay, so the guy, at whatever high speed that he was traveling at the time, flipped out of the car, hits a barbed wire fence. He's lucky he wasn't decapitated. And I had seen him. I didn't realize that's what I was seeing in the kind of the dark. I saw the shape, but I just thought it was stuff against the fence, because he's still there. He's still wrapped up all in this fence, and I was afraid to look, and Hawk is looking at, we're looking at him, and I said, oh, I got my flashlight over here, let me, but I'm afraid to look. I mean, I don't know if the barbed wire fence, a wire, you hit a wire, it's like clothesline with a barbed wire fence, could shred the guy's face off, man. Your face comes off surprisingly easy. If you've watched any Faces of Death movies or autopsies, you'll know. It really does. So, I mean, that's what I'm thinking, because, I'm keyed up, right? What's going on here? So here's this guy. Now, the whole time we've been walking around or waiting on, now the authorities, we can hear them coming. We see, okay, so it's been 20 minutes, half an hour. We haven't heard anything from this guy. We've been looking for him. We hadn't found him yet until just now. And he's all wrapped up in this fence, right? He's all bound up in the fence. So we start trying to talk to him and see if he, because he was not conscious at the time, okay? So we start trying to untangle him and get him out of there as easily as we can. It's barbed wire, okay? He's stuck on his clothes, his arms wrapped around it, all this kind of stuff. And we don't know what kind of injuries that he might have, but we realize he's come out of the car, he's all the way over here. Well, the authorities get there, and they're aware of the fact, too, that he has been ejected from the car, so they call life flight. That's it. In Texas, that's a law, how that works. If there's any ejection from a vehicle, life flight is automatically dispatched, regardless of how the guy is. Okay, and he hasn't moved in a half an hour, so we don't know how he is. Okay, so we start getting him out, and now we understand he only speaks Spanish. Okay, so we're trying to talk to him as best we can in what little broken Spanish that we have, tell him to kind of calm down, that he's okay. And his face wasn't shredded off, guys, but he was a mess, okay, and taking him out. Well, I think he was drunk, I'm not really sure, but he starts trying to extricate himself too, and it's obvious that he's not quite all together. He's not quite as conscious as he might need to be, but he doesn't want us to touch him or help him. He's like, fuck you guys. So he's not quite right there. So we start getting him out, and there's no telling what kind of injuries that he's got, but we know that we need to treat him as delicately as we can, and we don't need him, tearing stuff or pulling or being combative. So we're trying to calm him down. And then the ambulance ends up getting there, and they start kind of working with him and things like that, okay? And immediately, and fortunately for us, because the ambulance had come when it did, because they were able to get him, sedate him, and then put him in the ambulance and take him to where now the life flight is coming. It's surprisingly fast, considering how far that comes from. That had to land in a subdivision not very far from there, so they had to drive him from where we were in the ambulance to the helicopter, life flight helicopter, to take him probably into Austin, considering the nature of the injuries that they determined that he had had. So they're left to deal with the vehicle and everything, and like I said, there's obviously a child, probably a little girl that was involved, involved in his life somehow. She wasn't in the car, but her possessions were. Okay, so we know that about him, and other than that, we don't know too much more about him. So what does all of this have to do with, okay, see? Part of what it has to do with is the fact that if I had not been in that RV park, which again is a place that I didn't necessarily want to be, but I was taking my chances because there was nothing to lose. Because there was nothing to lose, I was taking chances, see? If I had not been there, that guy might have laid there the rest of that night and died of his injuries. Because I was there and I was willing to get my ass up when I heard the call and go look and just go see, like, what's going on? We were able to eventually find him and get him the help that he needed, see? Me being there was critical. And if I had opted out 3 years before, I wouldn't have been there. He would have laid there in the fence and fucking died, and they would have had to been peeling a corpse out of the fence. You understand? And what I'm telling you is, not just him. I don't even know, he's got a life going on somewhere, and he's raising his daughter right now. A little girl with a little pink glove. His car was probably fine. He didn't even wreck the car. But he got a little bit of hanging to maybe change his attitude of things that he got some stories in his life right now to remake out of his. He got an attitude adjustment right there is what happened, okay? And maybe he set his life back straight and he got himself right with his God and his daughter and his family and himself because of that. Because we gave him a chance to live. But that's only because I was there, because I lived. And what I'm telling you is, I didn't see any of that coming. So you say you don't see anything coming. Well, I could tell you, not only him, but a minimum of 6 other people are alive today. And these are only the ones that told me, because I was there. Because I interjected some kind of differentiation. I fucked up the whole plan of fucking doom and made it people's destiny, you understand? And you might be that guy too. Maybe. It's something that you're going to have to consider before you opt out. That's all that I'm saying. Because I ain't going to tell you how to do it. But it's something that you need to think about. Okay? So we did lose one guy, but he was doing what he wanted. I was willing to do risks with my life because I was able to determine that I was going to do what the hell I wanted. And if you've been to the place where you understand that there's nothing to lose, because it seemed to you like there was just nothing to lose, you're free. And you can go forward into that next day and see what comes to abide you and the new vibe that you got. You got a new patch, man, on your jacket that tells everybody a new vibe in your vibration, a new color in your fucking color wheel palette that you're going to make something out of that is so rare and needed in this world. That's why I'm talking to all you Shadow Kings. They need us, man, because we've been there. We know how to navigate the dark, and it's not always by sight. It's by feeling around with your heart. It's by sensing into those things and about discovering profound truths that nobody is going to tell you, but you might find out on your own. Okay? But you got to stay strong enough to stay alive to get that information out. That's why I'm here. I wouldn't be here right now to tell you this if I had opted out. Okay? And after every minute after that, man, it's like I'm providentially protected because I did crazy things. And yet I still lived, man. And it gave me more and more expression of freedom every time. And that's why I'm at where I'm at now. And I'm taking chances and risks again with my own life. As you guys know, things are going on in my life right now, man. Things are still continuing to happen that I would have never seen. Okay? But one of the greatest takeaways that I learned was when you're all just like, fuck it, and whatever, and there's nothing to lose, and that's what you say, that's kind of the easier way to say it. Nothing is sacred anymore. Nothing has meaning. What I'm telling you is, then you're free to look at it as everything is sacred, and for you to choose what is, even if it's just a spot on the side of the highway, even if it's just some little ritual that you make up yourself that you do, that has importance and lends importance to you, even if it's some old t-shirt that you kept in your closet since you was in high school, man. Those things have renewed life to them, and vigor, and importance, and value. And start being that guy you have been called to be. You have been called, or you wouldn't have been in that room with us where you thought it was doom that was standing over you with a scythe, when in fact it was your destiny. And that's what I'm here to tell you guys. So hang on another night, hang on a few minutes. Assess, begin to feel a little bit at a time what it is that you're feeling, and work your way through it. Give yourself that at least before you opt out. Give yourself a minute to demand to know the truth, the whole truth. Discover that you're free, and then go and live it. Live like you were dying. Tim McGraw song, guys. There's a reason for it. Live like you were dying. Live with it. You got it now, man. You're a shadow king. The awareness of your mortality is going to follow you all the days of your life. Let it be a mercy to you, because it will keep you in a straight perspective like nothing else will. You know the preciousness of it. You know that your friend could be gone tomorrow, right? Then you're going to make damn sure you tell him you love him when you leave him. Every time. Start to get diligent. Start to become impeccable. Start to distinguish yourself by the mark that you have. Okay? And it's going to steer you right every time. That much I can promise you. I know, because I made it there, I made it out, and I made it here. So if anything that I'm saying to you has value, please understand that's retroactive. And it's impacting you right now. That's the difference that I'm making, and that potential exists for you as well. Because you'll have the story to tell, and it's authentic. There's only one way to get it. That's why it is so rare. And you've got something right there of great value that very few other people are going to ever have, guy. Make something out of it. Assume a command, and then assume your command. Okay? And this is how we get up and out. It's not going to be easy. It's a little bit of a road, I can tell you. Okay? But if I found my way to where you were, and I found my way out, you know that I'm going to be there, find your way out and around. It's a sacred space right now, and you are okay. You are okay, and it's going to be okay. Okay? Let's ease yourself out of it. We're going to keep going. And we're going to go shiny side up. And we're going to ride into those places, and we're going to be there, man. and your grit and your determined and your authenticity are legit. You have not borrowed them from anybody. You didn't learn them from anybody. You fucking lived it. What did I say? You lived it. You lived through it. So keep going, Shadow King. I love you. We need you. And that is the point. We don't want to lose you. Keep rolling. Shiny side up. Power to you.